I felt extremely indifferent about every shot I've covered so far, but this finally changed. Mission Whacked Off might be the best shot we have ever gotten. But how did it succeed, whereas Lilweth's other two shorts, Mission Orphan Time and Bad Drivezo, failed? The most apparent difference, Whacked Off doesn't feel like filler. We haven't gotten a single shot that expands the overall narrative since Hell's Bells, and while I really don't mind having some shorts be a bit of episodic fun, they had become episodic so often that new shorts started to feel irrelevant. Whacked Off, on the other hand, both clearly builds on X's and O's and subtly expands on Blitz's development. This by itself makes the new shot stand apart and feel important, but it doesn't end there. The writing is a huge step up too. The premise of Blitz giving Moxie, the son of a mobster, a solo mission to kill a mobster, seems exactly like something Blitz would think is therapeutic, but as it's Moxie we are talking about, of course he sees the good in the target, bonding with him, about growing up, struggling with the same exact problems, which makes the twist of the dad being the, at least in this one aspect, good guy, hit a lot harder. Why did they kinda spoil that in the mission brief? Don't think about it, feels like they sure didn't, but that's a great premise for a short, and the execution is good as well. Remember how in my last video I complained about helluva not bothering to set things up, so what's happening oftentimes ends up feeling kind of arbitrary? This shot does the opposite. The reason why Moxie and Paulie, who stole Vox's color scheme, suit, bow tie and white shirt by the way, which can't just be a coincidence, started to talk, was because Moxie swallowed a spider. That would be pretty silly and contrived. But this one moment of Moxie swiping it away earlier makes it feel entirely natural. It's such a small, seemingly insignificant moment, but so much of the story builds upon it that its inclusion genuinely makes this shot flow so much better than it would have otherwise. So good job, you deserve a sticker. And it isn't the only problem they've addressed. helluva badly suffers from tonal whiplash. Incredibly serious moments get undercut by jokes constantly. The ending of this shot should struggle with the same issue, but they get around it in a simple and genius way. After Moxie breaks into tears and Millie comforting him leads to a bittersweet ending, we switch over to some light, playful banter. This should clash quite heavily, but simply by fading to black and cutting to the title card and then showing the banter during the credits, not even 5 seconds later, they completely worked around it. I'm genuinely quite impressed by how well it works, but enough glazing for now. The shot is really good. Not perfect. By which I do not mean that this story should be its own episode. I've heard this sentiment get repeated quite a lot, yet I entirely disagree. I don't doubt that it has the potential to fill the screen time, yet would it really gain anything from this? I neither think any scene would benefit from extending it, nor that we need more of them. I'd love to hear your take though. Leave a like, subscribe and tell me down below. I really don't mind the pacing in the sense of how long everything is or how quickly we move forward, yet this shot feels a little repetitive, not story-wise, but visually. The shots seem to have a budget which is quite a lot lower than episodes, which means settings get reused a lot. This was incredibly apparent in Bad Drivezo, where the story constantly goes
Meanwhile.
and while Whacked Off doesn't struggle with it nearly as much, as they do their best to counteract this by switching to another location in the middle and adding the ending at the M&M's home, most of the screen time is still fixated on this one place. It's a budget thing and they do their best to counteract this, so I can't really hold it against them. Unlike the jokes. The story is captivating, made me feel for the characters, and I really did enjoy it. Didn't really laugh though. Comedy isn't what the story focuses on, so this ain't as big of a problem as it is in the previous short, but still. Would have been nice to maybe have 1 or 2 more jokes that landed for me. Most of those which were included,
fettuccine fuck,
just felt a bit weird. Like the animation. They clearly put a lot of the money they did have into this one location, as it's where most of the scenes take place, which means we have a nice detailed rug, beautiful colors, the light looks amazing, love the gradient, and then there's Paulie, who looks like a paper cutout. The scenes of him speaking would genuinely look better if the background looked worse. These nitpicks with attached caveats aside though, I seriously love this short. It's a great story with likable, entertaining characters, dark comedy and emotional moments which add to the story instead of clashing with it. Mission Whacked Off is everything I want Season 3 to be. And another thing I want is for you to like and subscribe. I'll also work on a Q&A when we finally reach the 500 sub mark, so if you have a question for me, leave it down below.